Do 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 do. Chicken, chicken. Whoa! Yeah! Wow! Hello, everybody. Welcome to the things. Okay. Welcome. Okay. All right. Yeah. We can't be looking at ourselves.
So from the past.
Okay. Just trying to get set here. Oh, geez. Okay. Welcome to the broadcast. We're good at it. This is Jessica Kion, and I'm your co-host of Jessica's. My name is Ben Levin, and there's Jessica Kion, and I am still adjusting things. This seems like a good way to go.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Oh, yay. So we were just on tour for a month in Europe. Fancy boys. And we were opening for the band Haken and Vola and had a great adventure. So we thought, what a great chance to share some stories and get on the internet with all of you. Jessica will be our MC, providing all the drops and sound effects inspired by DJ Doug Pound. And it's going to be a good day. We've got lots of stuff planned for you today. We got sounds to make. We've got a willingness to answer any questions. We've got the microphone that picks up our audio. And this guitar. So we can talk about it all. If you've got music questions, if you got tour questions, just throw them all into the chat and we'll try to get to as many as we can as always. Jessica, what would you say is one of the first things you think of when I say the tour we just did?
The bus.
We were on a bus for the first time. What's the first thing you think of when I say we went on tour on the bus?
Sleeping in the bunks.
We slept on this tour in the bunks. We actually slept on this tour. We've probably been on tour like 20 times.
Yeah.
And this is the first tour where it wasn't grueling and physically difficult. Now I've always believed in touring and like enjoyed it on a spiritual level, I guess you could say, and that I think it's a really good thing to do and la 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 la. But this tour was not just great because it was a tour, but it was also great because we felt good the whole time, pretty much.
Yeah.
I felt like a normal person, just playing shows.
I did not feel tired like I normally do, and it was like physically hard because we had to like move big things, but that just meant I got big arm muscles.
Yeah, our muscles grew so much during this tour. All right, let's have a muscle comparison time. So this is after. Now, I'm going to show you before.
Okay.
See? That's before, and then after. And for me, you know, it's pretty cool. You can really see the difference.
Yeah.
So this tour, I was carrying around a lot of heavy PA equipment, so I got a lot stronger.
Yeah.
So this is after. Well, let's show them before.
Yeah, before?
Uh-oh.
And after?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so I was definitely a much weaker person in every way before the tour. And now I'm back, I'm stronger. And so the moral of the story is spend $30,000 on an expensive bus and you'll be comfortable for a month. All right.
Yay!
Yeah, that's how much a bus costs. That's actually a useful fact to know. So anyway, we got some people talking to us. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to this great party. Shaved Ben is a curse. Yo, back home. Yay, I'm reading them. I'm reading them. Your spine is on your chest. It's letting you know. That's it's a picture of my spine, actually. Dave Harris saw us twice. Hello, Greg. Dave Harris saw us twice on this tour. I hope it was good both times and that you got your money's worth. I'll upload 5 times a day for 6 months. Okay, that sucks. Someone's asking, Dankwash is asking, do we have baby carrots? And we do.
Yes.
The baby carrots are coming later. Actually, we have a really cool thing planned for you. I think you're really going to like it.
Yeah.
Jessica's going to go get her microwave Indian food and bring it back in. And she'll bring some carrots with it. Oh, okay, it's already happening. So there you go. Things are moving much faster than I expected. Let's see. What else we got here? Okay, we got questions. I'm going to wait for Jessica to come back, and we're going to pursue those questions with all of our mental and physical strength. Yeah, so here's a quick song about Jessica going to get food from the microwave. Indian food at Trader Joe's. Okay, and now I'll do it another time. This is the remix version. Indian food, Trader Joe's, yummy, yummy, lots of loads of poopy, delicious. When you eat all that snack, it's warm and makes your ball sack slap. Delicious. All right, we probably won't do that segment again. All right, let's see what else we got. Can you tell me your set list from the Munich show? Yeah, we had a new song, and then we had Leak Water, which is from our album Say So, and then we had another new song, and then we had the song Being Human from Shiny Eyed Babies, and then we had another new song, and then we had the song Holy Ghost from Land Animal, and Baby Carrots!
There they are.
Welcome, Baby Carrots.
Oh, man.
These are good because I choke on things if they're any bigger than this. I swallow them whole. I'll choke right on one if it's too big, but that's the perfect size for me and my trachea. All right, we got some more questions here. Can you tell me your set list from Munich? Did that. All right, next is Daniel Hartnett. Best sight you saw if you had any time to sightsee. Jessica.
I would say Budapest was my favorite city to visit. We got a whole day off there, and we went up a big hill, and it was like a citadel, and then we went across the bridge a lot of times. We were staying like by our venue, which was on the water in the river. It was on a boat, and what else? We had the best like vegan food ever.
There's a vegan restaurant everywhere you look. There was one, and
it was very good and very inexpensive.
Yeah, the vegan bakery, there was one that smelled really good. I didn't go. All right, that's interesting. Let's try the next thing. What did I like to see? Best sight I saw. I don't remember very much already. But Jessica has a whole journal of sights we saw.
That's true.
And she made these wonderful drawings of all the days. Let's see, where does it start?
At the front of the book.
Gosh, that's cool. Right there. Okay. Jessica drew our whole trip. This was the first day. It was in February. Can you believe that? That's how long ago. All right, February 14th. We went on the plane. Maybe Jessica, you should tell because you drew them and I'm just holding them.
Okay. So yeah, we flew over and we picked up some boxes that we were keeping at Sony Music office, and it was closed, and so there weren't actually people there except for our friend Freddie, who was helping us out.
Yeah, because
and
we had to get
guard.
Those boxes were full of our merch because you don't want to take your merch on the plane. You want to ship it to London. And the next day,
we loaded in. We got to see the bus. It was at one of the members of Haken's house, and they had like maybe 40 or 50 boxes of merch plus all of their gear and lights, and we had a bunch of stuff, and there wasn't enough room, so we ended up putting stuff in lounges because this bus was a double-decker bus. The bottom was a lounge and the front, like, driving area. And then upstairs were all the bunks, and then a lounge in the back and a lounge in the front.
I'm gonna have to interrupt you there for capitalism. We got £5 donated to us. Thank you from John Hammond. Hammond. Thank you. Look, we love all of you, but we love money way more than anything. Ben, this is what. Thank you. This is what John has a question. Ben, I love you and your music so much. You're my biggest inspiration, both as a composer and as a person. I hope someday I can write music as good as you. Oh, man.
That's very sweet.
Very sweet. That makes me happy. That makes me feel good. Well, I'm really glad that my life is not total waste. Here is nobody. You don't need to be anyone's big inspiration for your life to not be a waste. I don't like the idea that if you don't have dozens of subscribers on YouTube, you're still badass. Yeah. So don't worry.
Don't worry.
Okay, February 16th. Thank you for the capitalism, though.
So we said we got our merch, but we only got half of it, and so all of the boxes with the shirts and the sweatshirts and the beanies were gone. They were lost in the mail.
Yikes!
And somebody gave me a brooch.
All right, so there's the brooch, definitely, and there's half the merch. Uh-oh, where did it go?
They're in heaven.
In heaven. These are also beautiful. She draws them and then watercolor paints them. It's really cool.
So that day we played ping pong and ate lots of fake meat. It was very fun.
Yeah, this is back at the part of the tour where I was doing activities each day. Jessica kept it up, though. This is beautiful. Look at that. She drew this. Can you believe this? You're so talented.
It's so weird because everywhere it seems we have a different word for places like that have named themselves already. So like Cologne, we added a G, we added an E, we traded the K for a C. They say Cologne.
Cologne.
And it's like,
yeah, it's all.
And we just are like, Cologne.
Excuse me, I want some cheddar.
Can I have some cologne?
Let's go to Milan. All right.
It's so weird.
Let's take a break from this for a second. We're going to come back to this beautiful tour journal, but let's take some questions.
All right.
Okay, so my mommy asks when my diaper's going to get the new changed. No, that's not true. All right, let's see. Okay, where am I? All right. Best site you saw. That was a great question. Thank you, Daniel. Jesse McClellan. What does music mean to both of you on a personal and spiritual level? Well, for me, it's the way I've met all of my closest friends. It's the way that I've connected with the people that matter to me in my life. And it has given me lines of communication through which I've been able to get closer to my parents and even my parents' friends, people who I think, like, even though there's generational distances and we have different interests and they don't like it when I talk about pee and poo, I'm able to, I think, move through a lot of interpersonal barriers because of this thing of sharing music. So for me, the number one personal and spiritual benefit of music is that it gets us closer to our reality, gives us a reason to wake up in the morning, and helps us communicate more deeply with others. What do you think, Jessica?
It's a very complete answer. I think the thing that I would like to add that I find really wonderful is that, like, all the music that's in my life, whether I'm playing it and I've played it, hundreds of times, or writing it or listening to it, I still am such a big fan of it. And you wouldn't think that. You'd think if you spend all your days doing one thing, you get kind of sick of it. But it's such a part of my life that I even forget how big it is. Like I'm constantly listening to music and being falling in love with new music, and it's filling my head with thoughts enough to write some more music and then creating more music in the world, and it's just a great thing.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's so big.
Yeah.
I love it.
What a baby carrot.
I just wanted to take a second to divert your attention.
That's an ad.
Turn it off.
What?
We got baby carrots in the house. All right. Anyway, we got some good questions coming in. We got, is that jacket a French's mustard promotional item in reference to this jacket? It is. It's French's mustard. Actually, what happens is you'll have a boring sandwich, like it'll be a piece of bread and a piece of lettuce. And you're like, what can I do to make this sandwich relevant in the 21st century? So that's when you put on a little bit of French's mustard, please. Oh, yeah. Da, 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 da. Ba, ba, ba.
Wait, oh no, another ad.
No. The
Get out of there.
turn those ads off. We gotta buy the sound effects app. Oh, jeez. So anyway, next question.
The ads got worse on this, I think.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to make the sound effects
Manual
style. Nice. Dave Harris asks, you guys are obviously different from Haken and Vola. What, if anything, do you take from both those bands that you think you could use in your own music? Well, I think that one thing that I really enjoyed from both of those bands was their bigness.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good at making that like a first appearance where you're like, the show goes from here to here, and you're just like, dang, the world just got way brighter and louder, and like they, you could say, oh, that's just like turning up the volume and turning up the lights, but it's not. It's about your arrangements, your surprise. Lots of surprises in both of their sets. Do you have anything that comes to mind immediately?
Yeah. For Vola, something I noticed was after the show, everyone would be like humming their melodies and singing their songs because they're so catchy.
Yeah.
And I recently read an article by Big Thief. The songwriter Adrian Linker was talking about how she will work on a song for 2 weeks, like in her head, and then like only write it down after like it was completely like memorized. So she only she just like has these like ideas and holds on to them and doesn't write them down, and the good things stick is the way she put it. And I thought that was so crazy and like hard to do, and like maybe not for me, but also like maybe that's how catchy things can happen for people.
Yeah.
That's
like, well, Jay-Z didn't write his stuff down when he was, I don't know, maybe he still doesn't, but not for me. I can't remember anything. I mean, I've got plenty. Yeah, I've got plenty of bad ideas that I've put out. I have a lot of albums that are all kinds of variety of good and bad. But yeah, I'd rather just put the bad stuff out in case there's good stuff in there and not forget it. But I guess that's because my memory is not very good. All right, great question, Dave. Thank you. We got Shane Stead being like, "Damn," and then Shane Stead being like, "Jack."
Oh, that was when we were showing off our muscles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in the past here. Okay, well, let's move on ahead. Thank you for the kind words and the hellos, everybody. Appreciate you. Did you two go on a honeymoon yet? We went camping one night, which is good enough for me.
It was great.
We got like marshmallows and
It's
stuff.
hard to make a fire.
Yeah, we figured it out.
And then it was like, yeah, made a fire.
Yeah, man, I wish we had both of the sound effects.
They are back.
Okay.
Look what you got.
Fire. Hope that's coming through okay. It's a toilet flushing. All right. That's going through my Supro Blackmagic amp. All right. Anton Palmberg. Hey, will there be more of the public domain thing? It was fun. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that again. It's about time. Thanks for reminding me. Thanks for bringing it to my brain. Let's see. Where are we at? All right. Okay. What is your favorite Mothers of Invention record? Mine is You're in It for the Money. I don't have a favorite. I don't know them that well. I'm kind of a Zappa poser in that I've only listened to a tiny shrivel of his vast discography.
And people are like, man, you look like him.
Yeah, I look like him. All right. Girl, love that hat. It's boob.
He's a boob.
Yeah. All right. Dave Harris was at Manchester and London. Ah, okay.
My eyes are down here. So
Yeah.
I just thought of that.
That's funny. Dave did a really good job picking which shows to go to because Manchester was probably the most tense beginner set we could do because 3 of our songs had to get cut for time. But then London was like this super perfect, vibey, epic set that went really well. So you saw the full pendulum swing from poo
to pee.
To pee. Oh, we got Daniel Marson, a relatively new sub to the channel. Welcome. And he digs our approach here. Learning a lot.
Good.
Thank you. Welcome to the channel. All right, Mo. Ben and Jessica, congratulations on the great tour. How does Bentley go about composing their songs? Well, it's always kind of different. Lately, what we've been doing is we all just get into a studio and start recording and write by taking the things we like, making the riffs better and writing songs around them. Just like this really kind of simple thing I think everybody does. It just took us a really long time to get to writing that way because I don't know why we never did it.
Maybe it's just because of the way it started. Like with just a couple of people bringing in songs and then we'd arrange them and it was working well. We just, I think we just wanted to change. And so it started then all writing together. And it was really, it was like the most fun ever when we started it. It was like exploding with fun.
Hell yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Out of the countries you went to, which ones were your favorites? Well, it felt like one big country. And I know that sounds weird, but because we were in the bus, going to sleep in the same place each night with the same people and following relatively the same itinerary every day, tour felt like one big place. Sure, you end up in different countries and you look around, but you're talking English to people, and you end up sorry, I got distracted in my head. You talk English to people mostly, and you're using different currencies, but you're generally not seeing much of the area around you. So a lot of the countries, it's more like you saw venues than countries, and venues are more similar, I think, than like almost, you really can't get much more similar than that. They all have PA systems.
Maybe like banks.
Yeah, it's like banks. It's like if you went to 100 different countries and 100 different banks.
You're like, I get it. It has an ATM and people inside and chairs and pens. I get it.
Right. So unfortunately, it's hard to
somewhere.
pick a favorite country, but I had a nice time in Budapest because we had the day off, and like the vegan food thing, that was sick.
I felt like the biggest different feeling places were when the weather was drastically different. We had like really good weather for the majority of the tour. Like places that were even a little bit colder were like warmer for the time we were there. And it was like the really warm places like Spain and Italy were really, they felt different to me. Kind of felt like we skipped time into spring, like we just skipped the winter, and then we came back to Boston, and it's like, oh, here it is. And yeah, it was. I agree. It felt relatively similar, especially since the U.S. is so different within itself. It's like hard to. It's hard to like imagine it all being different, but
yeah.
It was a very fun time. And just like, one thing is I thought Paris would be like romantic and like more like, but it was raining and then we saw a motorcycle get hit by a car. That changed it a little bit. So
what was romantic?
Lyon, France was romantic. We went on a really nice walk in a park that was like Central Park, and it had a lake and it had clear water. We could see koi fish.
Hell yeah, that was nice. Okay, can you play J7, C7 in A minor pentatonic chord progression. G7. Oh, in an A minor pentatonic. Okay, so can you play G7, C7 in a A minor pentatonic chord progression? I got you now. Okay, so I would say yes, but it's not like super clean in there. It's gonna be really bluesy. So here's what's going on. You got your A minor pentatonic, which is A, C, D, E, G, and then A. Now that defaults in my head to be from either A minor or A Dorian. That's where my bass is. So I'm in the key of C or I'm in the key of G. If it's A minor, we're in the key of C. If we're in A Dorian, we're in the key of G. Now, let's assume we're in the key of C for a minute. So then the A minor pentatonic scale would live happily with the G7 because G7 is a chord that fits in the key of C. So if we were to go like, that's the A minor pentatonic scale over there on the synth over a G7 chord. And you can see there's nothing really offensive about it. I mean, especially the D, you know, that's right there in the chord. And then G7 would go nicely to A minor. So the G7 works in a progression of that sort. But when things get kind of weird is when you bring in the C7. So C7 does not fit perfectly in the key of C because it has a B flat in it. The key of C has no flats, no sharps. So if you do a C7 chord, you're introducing a B flat, which would be the flat 2 of the A minor pentatonic scale. So yeah, if I were to play the A minor pentatonic scale, or you can play, yeah, over this C7, it sounds like this, just the A minor pentatonic. Yeah. Since we left out any B at all, it's just A, C, D, E, and then G. That works there. But if you were to bring in a B natural from the key of C, or a B natural from the key of G, now you're in danger zone. So, long story short, it's okay to play an A minor pentatonic scale over a C7 chord. It's just look out for those B's. And then if you play a G7 over an A minor pentatonic scale, that's going to be way less risky because it would just put you in the key of C. All right, I hope that wasn't too confusing. Probably was a little confusing. Didn't feel like the cleanest explanation I've done. All right, so we got, hey Ben, I was listening to a song by Jacob Collier, which is in 2116 time signature. Could you explain how you would try to feel a groove like that? And also, I watched your video you recently uploaded about the 1316 groove you made. I still struggle with trying to feel the groove. Okay, well, so I don't know the song, the Jacob Collier song, and feeling 2116 or 1316 or 7/8 or any odd meter, it really comes down to the same thing, which is you have to spend time with backing tracks in those meters, just kind of spend time writing solos to those meters, learning like melodies that fit in those meters, coming up with riffs in those meters, and trying to basically count them in the longest duration pulse you possibly can. So if you're in 7/8, instead of counting it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, dividing it into 2s and 3s, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, or even better if you could feel it like you're already going to get into a less frantic state. So when you're talking 2116, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, it becomes extra imperative to cut it up into smaller chunks in order to feel it. And it also is imperative to do all that stuff with the backing tracks and the improvising and the writing as well, because you have to take this thing that's very foreign and make it not something that you're super focused in on a micro level, counting every little thing, and turn it into something that you can feel in a broad sense. So an example, 2116. Let's write a riff in 2116 where it's, how about we'll do 7, 5, and 9. Does that equal 21? 12 plus 9 is 21. Am I wrong? Am I doing this right?
You know.
Yeah. So 7, 5, and 9. So the 7 we'll do as 4, 3, taka dimi takita. The 5 will do taka takita. And the 9 will go takita, takita, takita. 3, 3, 3 to equal 9. So taka dimi takita, taka takita, 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 taka dimi takita, taka takita, 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 takita. And so we'll make a riff that follows that. So it'd be like how about something kind of simple with power chords, like taka dimi takita, taka takita, 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 takita. Yeah, taka dimi takita, taka takita, 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 taka dimi takita, 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 takita. And now we're one step closer to feeling 2116 well. And I stopped counting, kind of. I started just like hearing it as a musical idea. And it gets stuck in your head, and you build lick after riff after riff, and improv and track over and over until the whole thing becomes easy. All right. So Mario Marino asks, did you enjoy Italian cereals? I didn't get to eat any Italian cereals, but God, I wish I did. What do you eat on a bus? Well, there's a refrigerator, so anything that you can put in there is fair game. And there's a microwave. All right. Tim Doherty, our good friend, just reminded me that when we were in Munich, we weren't playing as Bent Knee, but we were playing as Ben Levin Group. So that set list I gave like aeons ago to one of the first questions is incorrect. What we played for Ben Levin Group was Falcon 9, Feeling Lonely. Then we did Waiting. And then we did an improv, and then Operator, and then another improv, and then Grown Up. So it was pretty sick. I loved doing the BLG stuff. What did you think of doing the BLG stuff? Oh, and I should fill people in. So Bentley did this tour, but for 4 of the dates, Courtney had to go to her brother's wedding, and we did Ben Levin Group for those 4 dates. And that was really a cool change of pace because I've never gotten to play Ben Levin Group stuff in front of such large audiences. So yeah, it felt good. What do you think? Vegan. What did you think?
I really liked it. It felt really different. I feel like our roles are drastically different because Ben is like the front person and I'm like more of a sidekick than I am in Bentley. And so it just felt really different. It was scary to like change the whole set list and just practicing outside of bathrooms and outside. Not really getting like a real rehearsal in. I've never really done that, and it went really well, and it was really fun. I'm glad we did it.
It was super fulfilling.
Yeah.
All right, so now we finally caught up to the capitalism part. All right, we're going through these comments very slowly. So the drawings. People really like your drawings. Yay, capitalism. Yeah. Dang, nice watercoloring. I love these drawings so much. I give you money, but apparently this feature isn't yet available in my region. That's okay. We don't really need you to give us money, but we love it if you do. Okay. All right. It's good. I'm reading comments, trying to find a good question. Hey, Ben, Jessica, do you guys have any advice on how to stay calm while performing, especially while singing? Oh, that's great. Yes, you have to stay calm when you're singing, because if your breathing gets all weird, then the whole thing's going to be weird. One thing that makes me stay calm, and I know this is going to sound a little obvious, but it's worth saying and it's worth re-saying a million times, is being as prepared as you possibly can be will make you more calm. Mm-hmm. So if you know that you can play these songs that you're doing in front of people, then it's easier to stay calm the next time you're going to play in front of people. If you know that you can play these songs even if you can't hear all the parts, it's going to be way less stressful to get on a stage or to play them in all kinds of strange situations. So being as prepared as you possibly can. Play your songs when you're hungry. Play your songs when you're full. Play your songs when you're tired. Play your songs when you just woke up in the morning. Play your songs in front of people. As many chances as you can get to like put yourself out there and in different circumstances. Take all those chances. That will make you way more calm. And for
I've got one. I highly recommend not drinking a lot of caffeine before you go on stage if you think you're going to be nervous. It definitely adds to anxiety and can make the whole experience feel like it's a lot more in your head rather than experiencing it and like going with the moment. Some of my other friends, Josh, the keyboard player for Ben Levin Group, was telling me he had like such a rough experience once when he didn't eat anything and he drank a lot of coffee and he went on stage and like he was like having such a hard time. It felt so different and felt really bad, and it can certainly trigger stuff like that. So keep it cool on the caffeine.
Yeah, and sugar drinks really dry me out.
Mm-hmm.
The food thing is big.
Yeah.
Try to know like what effects certain foods have on your singing. Try to figure that out and avoid things that mess you up.
I feel like dairy is like a big one.
Yeah.
I used to call it milk mouth when I used to drink dairy, and like then I'd sing and have like a lot less control of my voice because like the phlegm just like gets in the way from the milk. It's gross. But also the singer from Haken, I like just wouldn't have any dairy like the whole tour. He was like, I gotta save my voice.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. And also didn't drink any night like that he was singing or like the day before.
Yeah, and I found that also like even if you're not perfectly certain that the things you're doing actually help your voice, if you can trick yourself into thinking they do, that actually helps a lot because being you're asking about how do you stay calm. Well, you have a routine, you have a regular thing that you do that you associate with performing well, that will help calm you down.
Like Michael Phelps listens to the exact same playlist before every swim and gets him in that mindset, even if he's practicing or if it's a real thing.
That's really interesting. Didn't know.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, and I've got to take a break for capitalism. Our friend Pedro sent us $20 Another ad.
Capitalism as worse.
All right, maybe I'll.
All right, wait, I've got good. Hold on.
Turn that volume back up. All right,
Here.
we're losing the moment.
Oh, sexy girlfriend!
Yay! Pedro gave us $20. Pedro gave us $20. Oh yeah, dollars. Thank you, Pedro. Our pal Pedro gave us $20. Sick. So okay. Next questions. Hello everybody. People like haircut. And hey Jessica, how do you train your ear as a bass player?
Well, I would say that's an interesting question. I went to school for it. Whenever I feel like I'm like my ear could be better, I'll usually ask Ben for help, and Ben's given me a lot of lessons. And one thing that's really important for everyone is interval training. Just like trying to learn what intervals are, because that can help you learn what chords are, and just help you internalize sound in a better way.
Yeah, interval training, I agree, is like the crucial, like one of the crucial building blocks. But you know, a simple but powerful tool is to learn lots of bass lines, because there's only so many chord progressions that are out there, and there's only so many ways that typically people make bass lines to those progressions. Now, there's an infinite amount of possibilities for what you can do on bass, but people don't necessarily go that far outside of this sort of normal like idea of what bass does. So if you learn a lot of bass lines, I feel like that would really help you hear something and be like, oh, it's that kind of thing, like the that's just going down in the scale, and you get an ear for these things.
Yeah, I think one thing, like with all instrumentalists, when you get really like into your instrument, I think a lot of people are like naturally drawn to like the craziest thing and like pay attention to that. And like there are lots of like really shreddy bass players that you can like learn from. But one thing that is like not talked about as much is it can take away from the song if you're just trying to be a bass player in a band and you're playing a lot of notes, because like the whole point of the bass is to like be this kind of low frequency that everything is built on top of, and when you play a lot of notes and leave that space, it just creates a hole. And sometimes that's what you want to do, but a lot of times you don't. And so also just like starting with playing all of the roots and feeling what that feels like is like probably the best place to start.
It's good for your ears to play the simple parts when you're talking ear training. Yeah, I think you can get a lot out of the simple parts to solidify the foundation. Then you hear all that crazy Victor Wooten stuff.
Yeah.
And you know you have something to jump off of.
Yeah.
Hey.
Definitely.
What are the boys from Haken like? They seem nice, but what's it like seeing them in person?
They are nice, actually.
Yeah.
They're really fun. They're each different, I'd say, from each other, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, I thought they'd all be the same.
And it's also so disappointing. None of them are named something Haken.
Yeah, like I thought it was Ray Haken,
Or Rich
Haken, Ross Haken,
Haken,
Charlie
Diego
Haken, Connor Haken,
Haken.
Diego Haken. Yeah, manager Steve Haken.
Yeah.
You know, but what it actually is, they all have different last names besides Haken. No one's last name is Haken.
The one thing that I found endearing is the guitarist Rich. His last name is Henshaw, right? And they call him Hen as a nickname. They'll just be like, "Hey, Hen," and I was like, "What is this?" for like 2 days, and then I figured it out.
I wrote a song for him. It's like this. And
the ads are really ruining.
Yeah, this is terrible. So we've been using sound effects on this app, but now there's so many ads, it can't be counted on anymore.
I think it's when the phone like
goes to sleep.
It goes to sleep. It
Okay,
can't
you got to use that a bit more sound effects.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay. All right. So yeah, baby. So we got come to Argentina someday.
I'm sure we will.
Come to Chicago. Well, we definitely do that. We come to Chicago at least once a year.
Yeah.
New songs played on tour. How close is the new album? New album's very close. Very close. I think it's gonna come out this year. Justin Carrasco noticed now this is a party. Yeah, that's right.
Definitely.
And I feel like this is a good time maybe to go do another segment. Oh, okay. I'm going to answer a couple questions here. Solomon Gumball, did you get hooked up with hotels, or did you use the usual sleeping on random floors in van for weeks? This time we actually were on the bus. It was crazy nicer than the floor situation. Gosh, it's really harsh.
Too loud.
I think it's coming in hot. All right. Let's go back to the tour journal that Jessica made. So here we are, as we left off. February 19th on the tour. Jessica made this journal where she drew something special about each day, and then we did watercolors to color it in.
Yep.
So what do we have to say about this day?
So that day, I'd say the craziest thing was this one. where I was taking a shower and the lights went out, and then they were fixing the toilet at the same time, and I was like, "What? The lights went out!" And then someone working there went, "Yes, the power is out."
Yeah, that was Cologne.
Yeah.
Cologne, or if you're me, you say Cologne. But if you're from there, it's Cologne or something.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, sexism.
So that day it was weird. We were at it was like mostly good, but we had this weird moment where Courtney and I were talking to the tour manager, and the person who worked at the venue thought we were just some random girls, and like we're trying to get into the show for free or something. And I don't know if his English was very good, but the way he put it was, "Do these belong to you?" Talking to Steve about Courtney and I, which was very offensive. And then Steve very, very sweetly said, "They do not belong to anyone. Who do you belong to?" And he was like, "The venue." And
so
yeah.
I think maybe it was a language barrier issue, but in addition to being...
Yes, because I don't think he would have asked if we were just guys. I don't think he would have
That's
even
true.
brought it up.
Yeah, so I think, agree, that's the sexist part. The do you belong to thing, now that I'm thinking of it, if he says he belongs to the venue, that just means it's like, are they part of your party?
Right.
But you're right.
It was weird.
Jessica gets asked if she's with the band or if she's in the band.
Yeah.
And that's because there aren't as many girls in bands. And that's not good.
It's not good.
We need to hear you. Hear you.
You are
Hamburger.
one pathetic loser.
Here we are in Hamburg.
So we got our merch that day, which was really good.
Yeah.
Because we had lost it. Remember, it was in heaven. For those of you who've been following us.
I don't know if anybody's been watching the whole time. I wonder.
Probably not.
I'm gonna check on that. Oh, 66 people are watching now. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you, people. Sticking with us.
And then, so that was that day we ended up playing a show while we were in a Nazi bunker. And that was weird to find out.
It's no longer a Nazi bunker. Now it is a very nice music facility.
It was a music store. And it actually made me feel like really good about the state of the world, even though some things are crazy still. It's nice to know that like a Nazi bunker can be a place where like art is made and make people happy. Everything
changed.
Yeah.
You know, things change, and that's a powerful thing. When I go to Germany, and I look at the way things are, and I remember the history, it's very, I think, inspiring that even though there is still like a presence of evil everywhere, it's very nice to see that it's a real nice place to be, and we have great shows there, and there's like a lot of no Nazi posters and stuff.
Yeah, like anti.
But I'm thinking, I'm like talking at like as if I've got the emergency brake on in the car and forgetting about it. Like I'm stuttering because in my head it's such a conflicting thing, because there still is a Nazi presence here and there and in many places, and so I don't want to like create the
impression that it's all behind us.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's not 1945.
Yeah.
And I'm not being taken into a train, and that's good news.
Yeah.
All right, anyway. This one.
So that was in Copenhagen, and I jogged near a zoo where there was that big pelican, and it was like, what even is that? And then I saw people fighting with lightsabers, and it was crazy.
Next, we'll come back to that in just a bit.
Right.
We're going to do some more questions.
Okay.
All right, so where did we leave off? We had capitalism. Happen.
Too loud.
Okay, Solomon Gumball wants to know, what band are we in anyway? Well, we're in Bentley and Ben Levin Group and Justice Cow, and we often work with That One-Eyed Kid. And so now, tips in general for becoming a professional musician. Yes, we can do this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, number 1. Tip number 1. Do everything you can to be as good at music as you can. Now, little side note to tip number 1. In order to be the best musician you can be, you have to play with other people.
True.
So, tip number 2, play with other people as much as you can. Tip number 3, play in front of people as much as you can. Now, that also might mean sharing your music on the internet or on YouTube. These seem like obvious things, but a lot of people, I think, are too much focused on tip number 1 of be as good as you can, so then they don't do the other ones. That's not the idea. We want to be as good as we can, but we have to prioritize playing with people and having our music be heard by people. That's actually how you get as good as you can be. You've got to put yourself out there, take in criticism, take in positivity, and keep evolving.
Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing in general is even if you are great at music, everything you know will be like it will go out of style at some point. Look at like Miles Davis or Joni Mitchell, people who changed styles like so drastically in their career just because they felt like it, and because like things changed really dramatically in those times, and they were like top of their fields, and they still had to change. So yeah, I'd say be open to change and learn how to learn.
Yeah, huge stuff.
Yeah.
If you really want to be a professional musician, doing it for a living, there's a lot of pain involved.
That's true.
The pain is that you have to cut a chunk of space out for yourself in society to receive money for doing something that is greatly undervalued in the economy, basically. Like, music is undervalued. Musicians are undervalued. People love music. They'll spend $10 a month on Spotify and they'll go to concerts and all that, but there isn't a lot of value placed on people making music in general. There's a lot of value placed on very famous people who bring in lots of ticket sales, but there isn't a lot of value placed on people who are doing everything they can to make music in general.
And people starting.
Yeah.
There's like, that's why, like, I think it's easy. And no, I don't know where.
Well, so if you're in a occupation that is valued a lot, then the starting levels, it's still more or less expected that you will get paid something. Whereas I believe with music, it's like the starting level, you get 0, and that could last for a decade before you get to a level where you make something, and then that's going to be really hard to have like a family or like settle down or live off of. And then if you're valued in the top % of people who make music, then you do make enough to survive. But then the sources of that income are really, they change a lot. So even if you have one huge great tour and you take in a ton of money and put it in the bank, you don't know when the next tour is. And even if you do, you have to go with all of your presence out onto tour and do that in order to bring the money in. And the tours get more and more expensive the more and more big you get. So you might think that like if 1,000 people come to your show, then surely you're making good money because 1,000 tickets sold is so much money. But the expenses of playing for 1,000 people are much higher when you factor in lights and vehicles and
the
crew.
People working, all of that stuff.
And so anyway, it's not meant to be discouraging, but it's meant to underline this belief I have, which is that being a professional musician isn't necessarily the guaranteed path to fulfilling your musical dreams and being connected with music. Being a professional musician means that you're going to have to do a whole lot of stuff to like kung fu your way into getting paid to do music. And it sounds nice to spend all your time making music for money. But once you're actually doing a professional gig and the client is giving you your revisions and you're going on doing your like third draft of something, it still does feel like something you're trying to get through. The music that I find most valuable in my life is the music just the simple thing of playing, jamming with people, improvising, writing, these things that you don't have to be a professional to do.
Yeah.
That being said, I am a professional musician. I've done a lot to be a professional musician, as is Jessica, and so obviously it's something that we have found to be worthwhile, but it's
hard
tricky.
sometimes.
Gotta be as good as you can and lucky too.
Yeah.
All right. So I gotta take a break for capitalism here. Nick Kruger, our pal, just gave us $2.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is for Nick. Nick gave us money. Thank you. Ooh, Debussy. All right, so let's see. We had a question for Jessica. Do you have any new Justice Cow music coming soon? Justice Cow is Jessica's project, her solo project.
Yes, I do. I have been working on an album for like 2 years. What? I'm gonna be releasing it as soon as I'm done with it, and I'm gonna be animating all or most of the songs. Because as Ben has been working on animation, so have I, and I am a little bit slower, but I'm getting faster and learning a bunch of stuff. And I've been learning a bunch of stuff specifically on Skillshare. I really highly recommend that that website. It's amazing.
They could have paid us to say that.
They could have, and they didn't. But you can get your first month for free, and that's what I did, and I got hooked. That's how I started painting. It's crazy.
I have been offered to be paid to say that.
You idiot.
I'm glad
Wait,
that.
hold on. There's literally a you idiot button I have to find right now.
It's the truth, though.
Hold
Jessica.
on.
You're an idiot.
It's
You're
really,
an idiot.
It's good. Jessica uses it.
Yeah.
I don't like to. Hell yeah. Okay, I actually went back a little bit and got a. Are you familiar with Julian Lodge's guitar etudes? How do you recommend approaching accurate and complex string skip picking at high tempos? Yeah, I actually did a video about Julian Lodge's first guitar etude, or I think it's the first one. It's one of them. It's the one that's like exactly that. Lots of string skipping. I'll just put my carrot down for a second. I don't think I can play this anymore. Yeah. You know, that one. I did a video about that, and it's transcribed. But I never got it up to speed, so it's really hard. I don't know. I want to ask him that. How do you get it really fast? I think you gotta move as little as you can, as light as you can. You'll notice when Julian Lage plays that he moves very light and very little. Now, in order to do that, you actually have to be very strong. It might seem like because it's light that it is therefore light from the ground up, as if you have to practice playing it light in order for it to be light. But I found that to not be exactly true. You have to build strength, which means doing some rough pushing and then laying back, sort of like you're lifting weights. Eventually you have to lift some that are a little heavy and like kind of a pain, make you poop, and then you put them down, but you don't do it too much. So in order to become stronger, you got to do strength building, and that will make it so you can play lighter. If something's maximum tempo is 120, let's say, be able to play it like tensely at 140, and then at 120 you'll be able to play it light. So that's some thoughts on playing things light and fast, is that in order to play light and fast, you have to be pretty dang strong, so you should build strength. One other thing is, a great way to build strength is through building endurance. So you could take something that's not actually that hard for you to play, but is hard to play for a long time, and work on how long you play. I don't lift weights, but I know this. You got two kinds of muscle fibers. You got your long twitch and your short twitch. Short twitch is what you use to sprint. Long twitch is what you use to do something like jog for a long time. Both types of muscle fibers get tired. The short twitch gets tired real fast, but it gives you a lot of bang for your buck. Long twitch, you can't go as fast, but it lasts a really long time. And so you want to practice things with both of those muscle groups in mind. If you have something like, just like a little quick burst, whatever, like that kind of thing, maybe that's going to be your short twitch muscle. Whereas something like something you can just keep doing for a long time, that's going to be your long twitch muscle. So you want to find the tempo at the highest tempo at which you're able to do it for a long time, but you get tired. And then the lowest tempo where you have to play in short bursts. And those tempos, they kind of meet, and that's like where your long twitch switches to your short twitch. And that's a good place to know. It's good to know what that tempo is and really work on making it so that you're working your endurance with the long twitch and you're working your quick bursts with the short twitch and building up that mushy tempo area. Then you have to go back and review things slowly to make sure you're staying clean. There's a lot of 2 steps forward, 1 step back with building up technique. I hope that was coherent enough.
Hey, baby!
Woo!
You looking hot tonight?
Haha, thanks. All right. We got I'm so behind. I feel like capitalism happened again. Yeah.
No.
Okay. We just got more capitalism. All right. This is Aiden Rudder asking, why is nobody talking about Vola? They're a great bunch of guys. How was it hanging with them? You're right.
Great.
It was great. They are a great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
They were super fun to hang out with. And they helped us secure a backline in Europe. They helped us figure out a lot of things with our merch. They helped us get some discounts on amps and stuff. And
They were just also just sweet, and
Yeah.
very thoughtful. Getting off stage and them getting on stage was always a little crazy, and they always were just grabbing stuff and helping us. And I was always like, "You guys are so nice," and they're like, "No, just fine." I was like, "Okay, well, it's nice, very nice."
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "It's normal."
They're super, super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing
They're
that
very
up.
silly, also.
We owe
Secret.
Aiden a capitalism song. I'm going to try to make this one. Okay. Sick. Okay, I feel like I don't know. I feel like terrible about everything. Let's see. Okay. All right. April Kurtz asked a legit question here.
Okay.
What does it mean when your bass teacher tells you that you have excellent relative pitch? What that means is that if you hear a note, you do a good job based on that note, finding with your ear what the next note you're hearing is. So if I hear bo ba bo ba 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 da do, and I hear, if I have good relative pitch, then I can know this and figure out based on where this note is, I can figure out where the rest of the notes are. Perfect pitch, another type of pitch hearing thing, is when you don't need that reference because you have developed a sort of innate sense of what the sound to note relationship is. And this is not really something that you can decide to have. There's probably some trick to learning perfect pitch when you're a baby that we haven't really decoded yet. But if you don't have it, you really just kind of just don't have it, and don't worry about it. Bye-bye. And so relative pitch is something you can develop through interval training. And so, yeah, when your teacher says you have good relative pitch, that means you probably have a good instinct for it. Given one note, where are the other notes in the melody? What are they? Where are they? And that's something you can develop even further, and you'll be as good as you are now. You can be amazing at it by studying intervals and never giving up.
It's the whole song.
Really?
Like the whole, it's long. There you go.
Hey, okay, Charles Brown, advice for keeping up practice on the road when you can't necessarily sing or play an instrument. It's not worth it.
I got it.
It's gonna turn on the commercial.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Advice for keeping up practice on the road when you can't necessarily sing or play an instrument. Okay. Okay. That's tricky. I know one thing. Sorry, you breathed.
Oh no. You go.
Okay. Ear training. You can practice ear training. There's an app for that actually is like one of those few apps that I would actually recommend purchasing. I'll name it. What's it called?
You don't have your phone?
Here's my phone. It's Polytonus, but let me get the spelling. Okay, Politonus. It's an ear training app that I think is great. I think it works. It'll help you hear intervals and identify them, which is useful for your relative pitch, as we were discussing. And so if you use an app like that, you plug in your headphones to your phone, you can practice that. Now, another thing is, Jessica was going to make a suggestion that's too expensive. Too expensive to even mention. But what you can do, another thing you can do, is if you've got a phone, which most people do, that can do a little keyboard app thing. I don't know. I'm just kind of saying this. I can't think of a situation where you couldn't have at least a really quiet guitar. Like electric guitars can be so quiet. Or if you can't sing in the shower.
You can sing outside.
Couldn't you sing outside?
I do that a lot.
Yeah, me too. But
I'm like, I don't want to impose. I'm like, I'll just go in a parking lot and like stand in a light so people don't steal me. Sometimes people though are around when you're outside, and it's a little embarrassing. But I also have a thing where I'm not really embarrassed if it's a stranger. I'm embarrassed if it's someone I know, but if it's a stranger, I'm like, deal with it, bud.
Perhaps the moral of the story is there's an ear training app that'll help you with your relative pitch. If you can get used to the idea of singing outside and in the shower, you can work on your singing during those times. You don't have to sing too much during the day to get something out of it.
I feel like you could get a little battery powered like old keyboard, like a toy keyboard. Like Casio makes little ones that are you could probably find at like a thrift store. You could plug your headphones into. I bet you could find something like that.
A keyboard with a headphone jack. Good idea.
Yeah.
A drum pad. If you want to work on your rhythm.
Yeah.
Drum pads are super quiet. 2 drumsticks.
Sometimes they can be as small as this.
Yeah. And you learn drumming rudiments. That helps you with piano playing. It helps you with guitar.
Just with rhythm.
Yeah. If you want to be one of those tapping guys, like you can use the rudiments, like paradiddle is like those kinds of things are really helpful. And I hope that was helpful. Okay, let's see.
I agree. Nazis are literally the worst.
Oh yeah, someone noticed that Nazis are literally the worst.
Is that like a bratwurst joke? Nobody knows.
Dave Harris, thanks for spending this time talking to your fans. Thanks for the energy you guys exude on stage, and what you do makes people happy. So please keep doing it. We will. Thank you. Thank you. All right, now before we get to some more questions, I just want to take a break for some music here, and this is going to be just no
sounds.
No sounds.
Okay.
Sweaty boy, what's the toy? Tasty man, where's my friend? Why? Now I noticed Chris Weiss. Is this the Chris Weiss, like as in my first guitar teacher ever, Chris Weiss? Is that the Chris Weiss here? There's a Chris Weiss here. I really dig listening to you guys and learning from your experiences. It's great to see you. Happy brother. Jessica's art is pretty cool too. If this is Chris Weiss, is this Chris Weiss like the Chris Weiss? Well, hopefully I'll find out. But hello, Chris Weiss. If you're my first guitar teacher ever, I owe you everything. You're the best. Your teaching has never left my heart. It's been crucial. I hope to play with you again soon. My first teaching job ever was given to me by my first guitar teacher, Chris Weiss, and he really set me on a path that has led me to a lot of happy times and meaningful life stuff. All right, I'm just getting out of order with the questions. If I missed your question, it's not because it wasn't a good question. I'm just out of order. How was the gig in Switzerland? A friend of mine was there, but I missed it. Andrea asks. Well, it was great. I loved it. Nick Bersch was there.
Yeah.
We did that series on him. And then guess what? I saw him.
Yeah. Gavin calls him Old Nicky B.
Nicky B was there. It was cool. Whoa, I like that one.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't interrupt your song.
That's all good. Oh shit. Hi guys. Thoughts on sampling? Sampling. Hello, Seth. Good to see you. Sampling is a wonderful, amazing thing. I think Bartok would have flipped out if he could see how far sampling's gone, because he spent so much of his life going and getting samples of folk tunes all over Eastern Europe. And I think he was on the right track, but back then you had to be a rich, famous musician with a lot of guts too to get samples. And now you got things like Splice. You just can have them. I think it's a great way to make music.
I love Splice. It's so fun. My favorite thing is just getting sounds that I would never come up with on my own, and then writing with them. It feels like a cheat code. It feels like you can eventually replace it if you feel uncomfortable, like having something like that in your song. But it just gets you to think differently than you normally do. It's really exciting.
Amen. All right. How was that burp, Ben? Whoa, that was pretty recent. We're catching up.
There's been burps. I don't know. It may be a past burp.
Oh, Zerplin asked, can I play Wonderwall but backwards? That's funny you asked because I've totally learned this. All right, here we go. Sing up, sneep, swoop, slink up, sleep, slip, sneep, snow, and they wind this up. I was linear couple years. I see him. Wonderwall, what is wrong? Speaking of capitalism, do you think conventional jobs slowly bleed out creativity, imagination, and energy? And how do you combat that? Now, this is a really challenging question. Speaking of capitalism, do you think conventional jobs slowly bleed out creativity? All right, I have an opinion on this, but I have so little experience that my opinion should be regarded as useless. I have not had a job that I haven't wanted, and I know that is that's because of luck, a lot of luck. But I have a theory based on working with lots of students and knowing people who have had shitty jobs very well. And Jessica, I bet when I'm done mansplaining this, you're going to kick some ass. But my theory is that creativity is a muscle or a skill that you can cultivate regardless of any sort of sense of innate talent or regardless of what else is going on in your day, if you see it that way. If you see it as just something that needs to be worked on methodically, rather than it being some magical spirit that approaches you in the night and fills you with ideas. And oh no, I'm not open to the spirit because I spend my whole day hammering nails into people's dentures and then cleaning up the blood with a sock or whatever. I'm trying to think of a bad job. It would be I wouldn't want to do that. So rather than think
You're
of
really
it as
out of touch, Ben.
yeah, rather than thinking of this magical, I just don't want to be like, oh, if you're doing
It's
something
like-
that people actually do, because
yeah,
like
and they like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but if you don't see it as this magical force and you see it as something that you can work on methodically and objectively, I think you can find a way to become more creative. But I really want to. Tables, floor is yours. She's worked some bad jobs.
I think that that's like very true. I think trying your best to find pockets of time for yourself is just a good idea for like mental health anyway, but also using that time to work on some form of creativity, I think is, at least for me, is so fulfilling and can really like save your brain and like just make you a more tolerant person of like the stuff that is going on that's out of your control in like your job or your life or things that are difficult. I think there is kind of a grass is greener situation. I have had like a lot. I've had 3 jobs at once and I've had no jobs like I do right now, where I'm only teaching some days for like an hour. And it's not, both of them have dramatic upsides and downsides. And you always think, oh, if I only had blank, then I would finally do the thing, whatever it is. And that's just it's all bullshit. I think people like to think that if they didn't have that job, that they'd finally be able to work on the project that they've been working on. But really, if you manage to work on that project while you have the shitty job, that's the only way that you're going to be able to have it happen in your life. And I think when I have a lot of things going on, I'm always like, I wish I didn't so I could have time to do that. And now that I have like way too much time, it's so stressful. And it's so, I have to like create a structure for myself, or I just watch Netflix all day and get really sad. And it's like, I can't, it's too much free time. And I've had to like learn so much about myself to get to the point where I can get stuff done when I have a billion free time. And it's really confusing because you'd think it would be easy, but anything you do is not. Like, especially if it's creative and you care about it, you have to find whatever it is that makes you be able to work on the things that mean the most to you. And it's probably not your job getting in the way. It's probably like some other like insecurities or like other like time management things that are your real issue. And surprising enough, like your job was gone, it probably will still have that issue. It's nuts.
That's the shit. I feel like we should definitely make a video of just that explanation, because I feel like so many people can relate to that information and would benefit from it. So
Okay.
that is useful and amazing. I'm glad that's here. Thank you for the wonderful question. It's a
Yeah.
really great question. I'm sure a lot of
Definitely.
people benefited from hearing Jessica talk about it. That's the thing. Like, do not trust the YouTubers. If you want advice on making music, finding like people who have made successful YouTube channels might not always be the most empathetic or understanding of what your life is like and what will really help you best.
Also, something that's confusing about a lot of like YouTube teachers is that a lot of them aren't like active musicians. Like they're really good at YouTube. That's the thing. And like some are, and like some are out there doing lots of stuff, but it's weird. It's kind of its own thing.
That's a good point. It's sort of, I mean, we can all, I'll name some names. I'll say, you know, David Bruce, Adam Neely. They're just the first two that came to mind. They're obviously out there making music. And I know, personally, I know Adam's story. You know, that's a guy to listen to.
Yeah,
So it's not, I'm not thinking of him.
Yeah.
And it's not relevant who I am thinking of. But the point is just that you might get the wrong sort of fairy tale idea of what creativity is if you watch us highly edited, super carefully curated YouTube musicians who seem to pull ideas out like left and right like it's nothing. Well, that happens sometimes, and that's when I turn the camera on.
Yeah, I also
you should see what the floor of my damn room looks like.
the another thing just like that reminded me of was like I remember at Berkeley I would hear talks like people being like only do music if you wake up and that's all you think about. It's like your whole life and you breathe music and you think music and you can only like that's the only way you could ever survive. And that made me feel like shit because I didn't feel that way. I felt like I love music, but when I wake up I'm like I don't want to wake up. And like that made me feel weird for like having those feelings. And I just wanted to put it out there that I don't feel that way.
Jessica's the best YouTuber. we gotta talk about a video.
Okay.
All right, I'm just gonna try to. I have 5 minutes left.
Quick.
Okay,
rapid
Jesus.
fire.
All right, rapid fire. This is really intense rapid fire, and I apologize to anyone.
I'll just apologize.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Hey guys, you all have a favorite Bentley moment to perform on stage, and also will you check out my cover of Battle Creek? Please send the Battle Creek cover to benlevinmusic@gmail.com. I would like to see it. Yes. Favorite Bentley moment to perform on stage is just the ones where we dance. April Kurtz, thank you. You're welcome. I'm Max Ward. I'm not one to talk to strangers, but I do feel inclined to mention that I enjoy Jessica's tour sketchbook. Such a good job. Thank you very much. You guys are creative, and it's great to witness it. Well, I hope that Jessica's spiel there made you realize that, you know, sometimes we're not. All right. Colin Burke, are you two exclusively eating orange or yellow carrots? Chris Weiss, do you feel it more important to be purely creative and composing, even if it comes at the cost of commercial viability as a professional musician? Personally, yes.
I think it's really important to just make a bunch of stuff and sometimes think of them as just exercises, even if they turn into something really good later, just so you get a lot of stuff out and then you have a lot of choices.
Commercial viability. yeah, it's much harder than people realize to make something that is actually commercially viable. Like everyone acts like it's just a switch. Oh, if I turn on pop mode, then I'll just make
Be
$1 million.
top.
But it ain't like that.
Nope.
You gotta be creative. You gotta be weird. You gotta change things. You gotta be the first, not the follower. Imagine if you were born with perfect pitch, but realized you have absolutely no rhythm whatsoever. Ha ha! What a curse. Jazz Mickle. Hey Ben, you said you used Unity for some of your animation work. Have you ever made any games? I tried. I'll maybe do it again someday. Oh my gosh, it's Chris! Yay! It is Chris Weiss! Yay! Yay! Yeah, Chris Weiss, I love you. I love you. I feel so grateful to you. I can't wait to see you again. He's the man. He's an amazing guitar teacher, amazing music teacher. He got me writing music when I was like 15. He got me writing like my own albums. He just kept encouraging me and showing me how to use like the tools that were in front of me. And I learned tons of songs with Chris. He introduced me to the genre of metal, which led to the idea of playing guitar well, which led me to Steve Vai, which led me to the idea of music school, which, you know, there's just so much that he started and that I never stopped thinking about. It is in me.
Yeah, you've talked a lot about it.
Yeah, Chris is in my soul. I hear you in my head often when I'm working on music. Okay, we're almost at it. Great. Can we get another Let's Write series someday? Yes. Thank you for asking. Yes. Thanks for coming over. Enjoyed your show a lot. I'm glad, and it was a real pleasure. Okay, I make furniture commercials for a living. Please save me. Oh, well, that sounds kind of fun. What was it? What?
I was thinking of your.
Oh yeah, I did make a furniture commercial jingle. So let me know if you need any music for your furniture commercials, because I do that. I just want to see y'all get on NPR Tiny Desk. Thanks. That'd be fun. We can't though.
If we well, we can't from the competition. We can't be asked.
Oh, that's true.
But if we are asked, Gavin, our drummer, and Chris, our violinist, will kiss again.
Yeah, they've kissed before, of course, but
it
like,
ended badly.
It didn't work out, and so this is the way they'll. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Okay. Okay, we're almost done here. I got 1 minute left. Hey Ben, how do you visualize the fretboard? I've been practicing saying notes out loud as I play them, but I find myself internalizing patterns more than notes. Should I avoid or embrace this? I love this question. It's very hard. You got to do so many different things. It's a big mush. The fretboard is just like the word bear. The word bear is a collection of letters, B-E-A-R. It's an animal. You know what that animal looks like. You can imagine what it would feel like to touch it, what it would feel like to smell it. You know that you would want to run away from a real bear, but at the same time, there's teddy bears, there's cute bears, there's Berenstain bears.
Taxidermy bears, so you can get real close with.
The word bear sounds like this other word bear, which means like bare naked or bare naked ladies. And that's just one word. That's bear. And the fretboard's kind of like that. In order to really grasp the meaning of the word bear and use it in a sentence and be creative with it, you have to know it from all these different angles. So I would say keep naming the notes out loud, but also forget that. You know, practice it for a bit, but then don't think about it while you're playing. Keep looking at those patterns, and then write those patterns down as notation. Draw visual diagrams. Do all the different things your creative mind can get to understand it, and then you will unlock the secrets.
And teach it.
And
that
teach
helps
it.
A lot.
And teach it. Beautiful. Awesome. Nick Kruger loves David Bruce, as do I. David Bruce is, I think he's the best. Oops. All right. It was amazing. Only complaint would be that it was a little too short. That must be our set, and I next time we'll play longer. Read more than you watch. April Kurtz. All right, I'm trying to. Where's Jess from? She's from?
I'm from near Seattle, from Washington. I'm from Auburn, Washington.
Our friend Kevin McSherry says, hey, Kevin.
Kevin.
Kevin was at my wedding. Our wedding. It's my wedding. It was my wedding. All right. Good to see you, Kevin. Hey, Ben, do you know how to play Donna Lee? If so, could you? No, I don't. I'm learning it, and I want to see how to play it. See you play it. If it's not too much trouble. I don't know it, but my suggestion when you're learning it is to also learn to sing it. It's not a joke. It's like a really hard song to sing, and you might get something out of it, like ear training stuff. All right. Art Fredericks, you are magical humans. Thanks for doing your thing. Your music is soundingly inspiring. Thank you, Art. Solomon, okay, bye. Thanks for the theory from the ground up series, helping me a lot. I'm very glad. I'm grateful to you for letting me know. Afton Link, thanks for the advice, Ben. I will conquer the bear. Much love to you both. How do I play walking bass?
I recommend just learning other people's walking bass lines and figuring out what they did.
Yeah, sometimes just transcribing and learning other people's music is the best. Thank you, Nick. Congrats on your new album. I'm gonna listen to it really soon, and I'm excited that you're getting some press for it. Nick Kruger, check out his new album. A Chemical Mind is his project. I'm not subscribed for long. What's your band's name? My band is called Bentley. My other band is called Ben Levin Group. Jessica's band is Justice Cow. Thank you guys for doing what you do.
I just wanted to mention, I don't know if I can do a commercial for myself, but
Here comes some music for it.
If you liked my art, you can follow me on Patreon. I only have one level. It's $5, and I post almost every day, mostly all my art.
I want to also recommend Jessica's Patreon because it is actually really good, and she keeps up with it really well. And I'm struggling to be as good as her at the Patreon, but she makes beautiful art and beautiful, gorgeous works about our tour, our music. Sometimes it's shit posting, sometimes it's serious. It's always good. It's always tickling my tummy. That's patreon.com/justicecow. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for being part of our party.
Yay!
It was a lot of fun. It means a lot that anybody cares at all. Bye-bye.
Bye.